Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the February 10th Eastchester Union Free School District Board of Education meeting. Thank you for everyone here this evening and those of you tuning in at home. Before we get into our agenda tonight, Elias, I'm going to turn it over to you. And special thank you for coming here tonight to give your report when you should be at pasta night, which I understand you're going to be going back to with the baseball team.
Thank you, and start things off here at Waverly. PTA-sponsored clubs for both kindergarten and first grade will run from February 23rd through May 22nd, providing students with engaging enrichment opportunities beyond the school day. This school is grateful for the PTA's continued partnership and support in offering these experiences for students. In January, Lou Del Bianco visited Waverly to lead his Make a Good Choice Assembly, reinforcing positive decision-making and social-emotional learning. The school is excited to welcome him back this week for his much-anticipated Abe Lincoln Assembly, a long-standing favorite amongst students and staff. Additionally, World Read Aloud Day was a wonderful success. Staff and students dressed as their favorite storybook characters, creating a joyful school-wide celebration of literacy and a shared love of reading. And at Greenvale, it feels hard to believe that the school has only just returned from winter break and already preparations are underway for midwinter recess. While the first snow day of the year certainly added some excitement, the community is hopeful that milder weather and brighter days are just around the corner. The school is also thrilled to welcome back a familiar and much-loved face to the building. Mrs. Regina DeLulio, who taught third grade at Greenville for more than 25 years before retiring last year, has returned to serve as the FLES teacher while Mrs. Pelosi is out on maternity leave. Mrs. DeLulio's bilingual expertise has been a wonderful asset to students, and the school is grateful to have her through April. Students have also been head over heels, quite literally, for the gymnastics unit in physical education. They are learning exciting new skills and thoroughly enjoying the opportunity to use the new equipment. A special thank you goes to Coach Caridi and Coach Spinelli for planning such an engaging and energetic unit. At Ann Hutch, a heartfelt thank you goes out to the Ann Hutch community and staff for their generosity and support of the school-wide service project for 914 Cares, helping neighbors in need by donating books, clothing, personal items, and baby items. The students did a great job bringing in donations each morning. Congratulations are extended to the 5th grade students for their outstanding work during their recent mock debate. Every student participated, spoke confidently, and supported their arguments with thoughtful and convincing points. It was wonderful to see their critical thinking, preparation, and courage on display. The school is thrilled to announce that 5th grade orchestra students will be going on an exciting field trip to Lincoln Center to see the New York Philharmonic play, an exciting program about music in America. The school is excited to host Ned's Resilience Ride Assembly and Hutch in the beginning of March. The engaging and interactive show promotes positive attitudes, academic achievement, and appropriate behavior by transforming the way students face challenges. At the middle school, yesterday, EMS hosted its final school-wide assembly of the year, led by Ms. Jessie Clark-Funk. The assembly focused on promoting student well-being, kindness, building healthy decision-making skills, and fostering a positive and supportive school community aligned with the guidance curriculum and school-wide initiatives. This assembly has also served as a kickoff to the school-wide National School Kindness Week initiative at EMS. The school would also like to thank the EMS community for attending the EMS musical Newsies. Congratulations go to the co-directors, Ms. Rendy and Ms. Bonner, as well as the entire cast and stage crew on an excellent production. Students and staff worked incredibly hard, and their dedication and talent were evident throughout the performance. Now at EHS, this past week, the High School Jazz Co. held its 42nd annual weekend of dance. There was an excellent turnout, and the student performances were exceptional. Bravo. Tonight, the Eastchester High School baseball team is holding its annual pasta dinner. It's going really well, by the way, and it is a fantastic community event that helps the team fund its spring trip to Florida. Students in the virtual enterprise class continue to shine in the competition. Their company, Snacks for Smiles, finished in the top 10% in the National Elevator Pitch competition led by Alex Chiroka. This comes on the heels of a strong performance at a recent trade show and business plan competition at LIU Post, where they earned second place for booth design. The class continues to offer students tremendous real-world experience. This past Saturday, the Student Athletic Council hosted the annual Senior Citizen Dance in partnership with the town of Eastchester. With generous food donations from local establishments, student athletes proudly served senior citizens and created a warm, welcoming atmosphere filled with conversation and connection. The evening concluded with a lively dance party that brought generations together on the dance floor, making it a truly special community celebration. Special recognition goes to Student Athletic Council President Annie McLaughlin, who did an outstanding job leading and organizing the event to ensure its success. And tonight, I'd like to take a little different approach to the 2 for 2, where at this point, I feel like I've shared all my feedback I've heard from students. And overall, I think it's been a really good year so far at EHS. So tonight's 2 for 2 will highlight students or student groups and 2 upcoming EGO events. So first, for the student spotlight, I'd like to wish congratulations to junior wrestler Tatiana Alexander on capturing the girls wrestling section championship in the 94-pound weight division. Tatiana made history as the first ever Eastchester female wrestler to win a section title, an incredible accomplishment that reflects her dedication, strength, and perseverance. We wish her the very best as she represents our community at the New York State Championships in Albany on February 26th. The Eastchester High School inaugural Science Olympiad team competed against 25 Lower Hudson Valley schools at Maria Regina on Saturday. Ethan Chung and Samarth Gondi started this club this year with advisors Ms. Woodsray and Dr. Miller. Nicholas Ramos placed 4th out of 26 in the chemistry event. We look forward to future competitions. Now for 2 upcoming EGO events, the EGO will hold a blood drive on Wednesday, February 25th, in partnership with the American Red Cross. We encourage all community members to come out and donate to this important cause. The annual Matt DeMarco Pickleball Tournament will be held on Thursday, February 26th. All proceeds from the 32-team tournament will go to the Matthew DeMarco Scholarship Fund, which is a nonprofit organization based in Eastchester that aims to support students in their academic pursuits. Through various initiatives and programs, the scholarship provides financial assistance to deserving individuals to help them achieve their educational goals. And that's my report. Thank you.
Elias, thank you so much, and please, you do not need to sit here. I know you have a lot to do at PAS tonight, so tell everyone we wish them our best, okay? Thank you again. Yeah, tell Joe I said hi. Thanks so much. Not tons to report tonight, but just one thing to speak to from a budgeting perspective. One of the things that this board does meticulously is constantly look at our budget, where we're spending money, what's coming in from the state, et cetera. And as Dr. V is going through that with Linda in the business office, it appears that the state has changed quite a bit of their calculations, how they're calculating aid and things like hold harmless and a lot of the things that the community has heard about in the past. The state is actually reducing what they provide to us by approximately $1 million. And to put that in perspective for everyone, our school district essentially is 92% funded by our taxpayers. We get about 8% from the state in terms of calculations, money back, aid, et cetera. When I look at other comparative school districts and facts and figures that WSBA actually puts out, a lot of our surrounding school districts actually receive 50% of their money from the state, 65% of their money for the state, some are as high as 90% of their money from the state. Eastchester, again, gets somewhere between 8 and 9%, and we're looking at a reduction in that. So the reason why I bring that up very publicly this evening is a lot of times people will say to me and the other trustees, what can we do to help the school district? Where can we get involved? And what I would say to everyone this evening is, please write and call Shelley Mayor's office, apply to the state legislature, speak to people to make sure that you're advocating to get as many dollars for our students as possible. We understand the burden that it puts on the taxpayers when essentially we're between 90 and 92% funded from the taxpayers. Any reduction in state calculations to us is an impact, and it's predominantly an impact to our taxpayers. So, Doctor, I don't know if there's anything you'd like to, as we lead into this, preliminary budget conversation, to add to that.
That's a wonderful segue. Thank you, Mr. Finelli, for saying that. And I also want to just commend our Board of Education, who, again, this is a volunteer position as board trustees. This month of February is a busy one, as we will have members go out and advocate to our Assemblywoman Amy Paulin coming up very soon. Also, again, talking with Senator Mayer in a small group to really talk about how important it is for foundation aid for us to increase. Right now, we are considered a saved harmless district, that we get the minimum increase of just 1%, and that is a small figure. I know that many people say, well, you're getting an increase, but that 1% doesn't even cover how much we increase in just our health insurance costs for our benefits for our employees. So anything that we can do to have just aid overall increase, that would be wonderful. So today, I'm very proud to welcome very shortly our special education department to come on up and kick us off with the start of more budget presentations that will come up until the moment where I eventually will then present a superintendent's proposed budget. You will see that as we've been working on our budget presentations, starting with special education today, everything, the whole kit and caboodle is in there, because we are really trying to achieve the goal of offering transparency to our community, offering transparency to our Board of Education, so that our public and our board and our faculty and staff and our students and families know exactly what we are dedicating our resources and our fiscal dollars to. We know how much comes straight from the local taxpayer, and so we want you to see that we invest those funds right back into our schools, into our programs, into our curricula, to the experiences that our students have. So what I'll do, I will invite Ms. Dobbins, our interim assistant superintendent for special education and PPS, up to the podium, as well as Ms. Erin McGee and Ms. Christy Guerin-Melito.
I kind of wish you had spoken about the foundation aid after this. No pressure whatsoever. Good evening. As you are aware, my name is Joanne Dobbins, and I am the Interim Assistant Superintendent for Pupil Personnel Services. I am accompanied tonight with my two Assistant Directors of Special Education, Ms. Erin McGee and Ms. Christy Guerin-Melito, who I could not live without at this point, especially this week. Tonight, we are prepared to share with you our vision for the Eastchester Pupil Personnel Department in terms of budgetary implications. In order to understand the position we take as a department, I would like to invite Dr. Villanueva to examine our next slide on the vision of Eastchester. Dr. Villanueva?
Thank you very much, Ms. Dobbins. And you've all very much seen this image before, but it is our 4 campuses, 4 pillars, our one vision, Elevate Eastchester. And through every single budget presentation you will see and hear from here on forward, it is every possible way that we can elevate our programming. And so our special education department is going to talk about the student experience, how we reimagine space for our students in special education, how it's not just about special education, but it's also about mental wellness and health and well-being, and how we partner with our community. And really, it does kind of embody our 4 campuses, 4 pillars, one vision, Elevate Eastchester.
Thank you. Incorporated within the responsibilities of the PPS department is the Health Services Division. This includes the school nurses and school physician. 5 of the school nurses work 10 months per year, and 2 nurses work 11 months per year. The 11-month nurses divide their time in that 11th month to ensure that there is nurse coverage for our ESY, the Extended School Year Program for our special education students.
And in addition to our health services department, we have our special education department, which is coming up shortly.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's not advancing.
And all of the work that we do to serve our students and families couldn't be done without all of these folks. Again, we have our cabinet, our interim assistant superintendent for PPS, and her secretary, who does lots and lots of work that you'd never see behind the scenes. We have our 2 very talented assistant directors of special education for elementary and secondary. We have also their secretaries who also do a lot of work. And in all of our buildings, we have our psychologists and our CSC chair people. We have our special education teachers and our case managers, our teaching assistants, our monitors, all of our related service providers, psychologists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, speech therapists, our in-house BCBA, which is a board-certified behavior analyst. We also have our CPSE chairperson. We have our elementary teams. And again, special education is rounded in every possible way, and every child is individual, and their program is individualized. And so it's all hands on deck, and this is the team that gets that work done.
Thank you. As with any department, special education has many celebrations and highlights. Erin, would you please share those happy occasions with us, please?
Thank you. Before diving into the specific numbers and other specifics regarding the budget, we wanted to begin, and you'll also see conclude, with some real celebrations and highlights of our students and our department to really focus on the student-centered approach of the work we do. So this slide could have been probably many more, but just a few highlights I just broke down. After school this year, another club that we put in is our Unified Cornhole Club. As you know, through Unified Athletics, we already have basketball and bowling, but that's the second half of the year. So cornhole we have in the beginning. Programmatically, I just want to share that at secondary level specifically, the access for students with disabilities has expanded tremendously, and there's so many people to thank for that, but really a phenomenal job that students with disabilities have so much more access to higher level courses and even college courses. I also put in there, one of them was our ICT physics class that we have at the high school, and for our full day special classes this year, we have a co-taught digital media class as an exploratory course, which is a nice offering. I spoke last time, so I won't go too into detail, but our transition in post-secondary, our school to work program has really blossomed so much. Our school to work sites, since our last meeting that I spoke about probably a month ago, we actually have 2 more partnerships. We just received Value Drugs as one of our school to work partnerships that we're going to be starting, and I had spoke last time about New York Presbyterian, the outpatient services. They just started last week, 2 of our students, so it's been really amazing. And for those who didn't know, we also have so many other sites, Lake Isle, Nature's Cradle, Country Market, Barnes & Noble, Eastchester Public Library, so a real robust program. Also, last time I spoke just briefly about the BEAT travel training. So really, this is a partnership with Westchester County, where it's really helping students become more independent, learning safety awareness, being able public transportation, Beeline bus system, train, pedestrian walking. So a real nice program we've brought in. And then finally, I just put also just some of our professional development. So we're doing a training series for implementing restorative practices. We have our BOCES workshops where we've done a progress monitoring, dyscalculia. We have a tremendous partnership with GNR Inclusive Co-Teaching, where they're really going into the classrooms and doing coaching with our general ed and special ed teams. We also have done a threat assessment training. I put in there TeachTown, again, one of our newer curriculums that we're using for our students alternately assessed or in our special classes. And the other thing I put on there was department chairs. As you know, the middle school has just begun having department chairs, so we do have one for special education. The high school also had department chairs, but it is a new department chair this year, and they are a wonderful asset to really bridging the administrative and the school community together. So just a few highlights. A few pictures just to show, sometimes just seeing it in action makes it a little bit more real. So those are some of our school to work sites, Lake Isle. You can see Nature's Cradle. We also have the Giving Retrievers, and then some of the Unified and the Cafe.
Okay. Special education programming lives on an ever-changing landscape. As you are already aware, the special education budget is often one of the most, if not the most, volatile line in a school district's budget. We are mandated by law to serve all students no matter when they enter our school district, whether anticipated or unanticipated. Students have individualized needs that change as students develop, classifications of students are reviewed for appropriateness, and there are unanticipated needs of students based upon our enrollment and IEP requirements. For example, this year alone, to date, we have received 22 students who entered our district over the summer. We thoughtfully prepare as best we can with the information we have and acknowledge that sometimes some changes can be more than expected. Keeping this in mind, the Special Education Department carefully checks in with our fiscal responsibilities and are in constant communication with our business department and superintendent to provide updates and/or budget alerts if something is on the horizon. Each year, New York State Education calculates a percentage rate across all schools within the state. Districts are asked to review their classified rate against the overall state percentage. If a district is identified as being over the state rate, that district is mandated by the state to produce the rationale as to why this occurred and design a corrective action plan to try to align the district with the state's percentile rates. In the case of Eastchester, the percentage rates over the last 5 years have been below the state's percentile rates. This is indicative of our special education department performing their due diligence in the appropriateness of addressing the needs of our students. And Dr. V will present the next slide.
Thank you. And actually, Ms. Dobbins, if you wouldn't mind pressing the first click. In the 25-26 adopted budget, we had allocated $2,853,000 to the special education lines of 2250. That does not include salaries or benefits. As you heard from Ms. Dobbins, we had 22 students who were unanticipated who arrived in our school district after that budget was passed. In addition, we had a few of our existing students who changed in their setting and went into some different placements that had some tuition costs that were more than we had expected. And so if you could press the button one more time. In actuality, the 25-26 actual budget, after we encompass all of the new children who arrived and the new placements, really is coming in at the $5 million mark. I know that's a little bit of a difference, but again, we are required by state to serve all of our families and students with needs, and we are proud to do so. And so we are taking the bull by the horns and looking at the number as it is real, and again, transparency is a big part of our goal. Our special education 2250 lines comes in at about $5 million, if you press that button. For next year, we are requesting a slight increase, and if you could press it one more time, an increase of about $466,000, which would take us to a total request of $5,564,452, which is an increase of about 9.14% over our actual anticipated budget to land this year. I know that's a little bit of a mouthful to say actual anticipated, but the reason we're saying that is we haven't finished the year quite yet. So with that being said, in the next couple of slides after Ms. Dobbins goes over the next two, you'll see then an aggregate total of what we spend on special education that includes salaries as well. In education, a good part of our budget, probably 76% of it, is always dedicated to salaries and benefits, and that's because we are in the business of people. We serve people, we are educating young people, and we want the best people in front of those people. And so because of that, it would only make sense that when we see our special education salaries and we have specialized people who provide those services in our classes, that this number here, although these are 2250, will increase, and I'll show you that in just a few moments.
This next slide will be presented by Christy.
So as you can see up there, when a student's unique needs cannot be met in the available in-district support or program, the CSE may recommend a specialized program outside of the home district to ensure that the IEP can be implemented and the student can continue to make progress. Out-of-district special education tuition for students with disabilities varies very widely based on placement type, services recommended, and can range from $50,000 up to $780,000 per year, and that is for an intensive residential placement, and that depends on that level of the support that's required. We are very proud to say that we are currently educating 96% of our students within the district's full continuum of support and services that we have to offer, so that is something to be celebrated.
Erin will present the next few slides.
The next two slides we just thought was great for information purposes, as it might not be known to everyone. So there is something by state and federal legislation called District of Location. And just to review that, this became officially federal when IDEA was reauthorized in 2004, and then at the state level in 2007. And what this really says is to ensure that students with disabilities that are enrolled in private schools receive special education services from the district where the school is located. So for us, the district of residence is Eastchester. We have one school in our district of location, which happens to be Immaculate Conception School in Tuckahoe. So any student who is enrolled in that school that receives services from an IEP from their resident district, we, as the district of location, must provide those services. So right now, we have 5 students that are getting bused to some of our Eastchester in-district schools and programs receiving services, and then we are able to bill back the home district for those services. It's a nominal amount, but at least it's something just to share. And then on the reverse side, this is now same thing when a parentally placed students. So this is an Eastchester resident student that may now attend a private or parochial school that they are placed at. If they receive services here through Eastchester through an IEP, the school that they go to, that district of location must provide services for them through the IESP, Individual Education Service Plan. And then if there are services or evaluations that are completed, they can bill us for those services. At this point in time, nobody who attends any of those schools, and some of them that we work with, Holy Child, Ursuline, Stepanak, Fordham, Iona, none of those students right now have receiving any services through an IESP, and we are not responsible for tuition. This would only be the services per the IEP. And then I just wanted to talk about a little bit of the revenue that we receive. So some students come to our district because their home district cannot provide specialized programs or supports that are required by their IEP. In such cases, a district with the appropriate services like Eastchester then educates the student and receives tuition from the home district to deliver those services. So this year we had 25 students from other districts. We received that revenue that you can see there, and next year we're anticipating at this time, as of today, 22 students. 3 are graduating with diploma credentials, which is amazing. And just a little part to say is we get an extensive amount of packets from other districts during annual review season. So from March even till August, we will get a plethora of packets that we will be looking at. So although the number is 22 right now, it will definitely go up prior to the start of September because we always take out-of-district students.
This next slide represents the total special education of salaries without benefits, legal costs, transportation services, health services, salaries, health services other, which consists of supplies, medications, AED supplies, etc., and psychological services, which includes salaries. The total for the budget request is $17,663,645. The difference between the 2 years is due to increased costs and contractual obligations.
Thank you, and I'll have you hit that button one more time. So just as I had mentioned a couple of slides ago, now that we've factored in salaries and all of the other costs that it takes to run the special education department, in actuality, in the 2025-26 adopted budget, there was an anticipation that we would be spending $19 million on special education as a full department. In actuality, we anticipate that by the end of this year, we will be spending about $21,355,190. In requesting for next year, including salaries, before I get there, if you take that number, the 21 million that we spend all on special education, and factor it into what our current budget, adopted budget is for this year, really, special education costs make up about 19.3% of our entire district budget. That is something to be very proud of because we have very robust programs and we offer a number of services to our families because we do keep quality high and our expectations high. In addition to that, however, we have some opportunities to look at how we can become more efficient or how we can recruit a little bit more when it comes to revenue and tuition programs to see how we might be able to lower that total cost because we have some ideas on how we might be able to elevate the district in ways of programming for all of our students here in the district. So next year we are requesting a total, and that's encompassing of the $5 million that we talked about 2 slides ago, a total of $23,228,097, which is an increase of about $1.8 million and a total percentage increase of about 8.77%. So the reason, again, just to see the entire kit and caboodle of what it takes to have special education service our families was an important part for us just having a transparent look at where, again, we are committing our dollars. Thank you.
Christy?
So as we reflect on this year and plan ahead for next year, looking at our full-day special class continuum remains strong and responsive to our student needs. We currently offer a range of programs, including in 812, 913, 1212, and 1211 special classes. At the elementary level, we have 9 special classes in place, including the newly established 1212 and 1211 special classes at Waverly. Looking ahead to next year, we anticipate maintaining those 9 elementary special classes. Rather than offering a second 1211 class at Waverly, we will transition to an additional 812 class at Ann Hutch to align with projected student needs as they transition to grades 2 through 5. At the secondary level, we currently offer 7 special classes and plan to continue offering the same number next year, ensuring continuity of our programming and support our students going forward.
Erin?
And just 2 other areas we wanted to share, obviously special education transportation. So some of our students require special transportation per an IEP recommendation based on how their disability affects their ability to get to and from school safely. So things like special seating, small vehicle, one-to-one aid, special equipment. So we broke this down. You can see on the top part, the regular school year, September to June. We also have our summer program for the 6 weeks. That's broken down, and then the total cost of what is being anticipated. And the last part that we wanted to also share was our extended school year. So ESY, or known as summer services. New York State requires special education programs and services to be provided to eligible students with disabilities in order to maintain their progress and not lose critical skills that they have gained. So as you can see on this, we put staffing. So actually, I should say we have 2 areas. One is our in-district programs, and then we have out-of-district summer programs as well. So it's broken down, as you can see, by the staffing, the transportation, as well as the BOCES in private schools. And then you see the anticipated cost for next year.
One thing that I will just jump in here for on the extended school year, the ESY, is that we do receive quite a bit of federal grant money for ESY. So even though the total cost projected for next year is $972, we anticipate we probably will get about 65%, if not a little bit more, of that total back in aid. So we really are on the hook for the difference. So that relatively typically comes into about $250,000 that would come from the general fund to go towards ESY. The rest of that would be covered by a grant.
This slide incorporates the needs of the special education department. These monies support all of our teachers and buildings. It supplies the equipment needed by our students to access the curriculum for academic success. One of the things that we have to replace this year are all the AEDs within the district. It seems they have expired, and there are no replacement parts. So we have to buy them all new. We have about 13 in the district, and they're roughly about $3,000 each.
Right, and I think it actually goes beyond the expiration as well. So there was a law that was just passed, and all districts, unfortunately, this is an unfunded mandate, have to replace their AEDs and bring them up to code based on the new state law. So although when we say expired, I think it's also they don't meet the new specs is what it really is. So they are functioning, so we do still have a safe building where we have AEDs that function, but with the new law, we do have to change all of them, and so that is a pretty penny for next year.
Thank you. Erin?
We'll just close with some celebration and highlights at the elementary level. So you'll see some photos up there. It's Ann Hutchinson's Heart Helpers program, which is led by the school psychologist that brings together general education peers and students from our special classes for structured, engaging activities. Shared experiences, these students are building meaningful social connections with their role models. with their peer role models. They're enhancing their social skills, communication, and positive behaviors. The program creates natural opportunities for inclusion, as well as gaining friendships and having fun in a supported, structured environment. Then we have our Giving Retriever program, which is a long-established partnership in the district, providing canine integrated therapy in our special education classrooms that foster community, socialization, wellness, and the connection through that animal, that human-animal bond. And then we also partner with the Westchester Conservatory, Music Conservatory of Westchester, that provides musical activities to students, social emotional, communication skills through singing and rhythm and movement and instrument play that promotes that student engagement, self-expression, and attention. It's also enhancing your language skills, improving your motor coordination, and strengthening that peer interaction. I know Erin mentioned a little bit early about GNR. Our partnership with GNR as we refine and strengthen our most highly recommended program model, which is co-teaching. We partnered with GNR to provide that ongoing monthly support at the elementary schools, focusing on those practices and inclusive instruction. Their work really emphasizes on effective co-planning, communication, collaboration, and the use of a variety of co-teaching models. As we continue to strengthen our co-teach model, it further equips our teachers to successfully educate students in the least restrictive environment, ensuring that they receive the supports they need while remaining meaningfully included with their peers. Thank you.
In closing, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the community, teachers, the Board of Education, Dr. Villanueva, for providing for our students and helping them achieve to their full potential. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And a thank you back to your department as well, and everybody. Christy, Erin, Joanne, I mean, you don't sleep, I don't think, because there's lots to get back to, and every family means something to you, and I know to our teachers as well. The relationships are strong here in our community, and I think our families are very proud to come to Eastchester. And so that is something that we want to keep intact and to continue growing. I think this is something that we've experienced here, but when you see a student enter in kindergarten, and there's lots of struggles sometimes, particularly if school is brand new to them, but over the years when you see them walk that graduation stage, and if they've come from a more restrictive to a very least restrictive, perhaps no more restriction altogether, it's just there's no other feeling in your heart when you see that happen, because you have to feel pride and that swell of happiness. So that is really why everybody, I think, in your department, all of us in the school district do what we do. So thank you. Board members, if you have questions about numbers, we are happy to dive into them. Otherwise, we will continue basically rolling until my presentation becomes official. We can take questions from a previous presentation and talk about it in the week following.
Great.
Or meeting following, sorry.
Any questions this evening? I know this is a lot to digest as we start the budgeting process, but I do think Dr. Villanueva, as you had expressed, I think for the community and for us, doing deep dives into big buckets for the purposes of budget, I think is extremely helpful for us and for the community. So I'm sure we will come back as we start to get into budget season and budget cycle with some questions. So thank you all tonight for the presentation. We appreciate it. So just before we go into the consent agenda this evening, as most of you know, we have an executive session to discuss personnel matters prior to our public meeting. So there is one item that I would like to walk onto the agenda, which is a settlement vote. So I am actually going to read that resolution, and then I'm going to need a second, and then we're going to take a full vote on that. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby approves a settlement agreement and release dated February 6, 2026, with the employee outlined in the confidential Schedule A. Be it further resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the board president to execute this agreement. Do I have a second to that motion? Rob, all in favor? Thank you. You have what you need for that, Lori? Okay, great. We are now up to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda? Christine?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda, which includes the following: 7, approval of minutes; 8, personal agenda; 9, committee on preschool, special education recommendations; 10, pupil personnel recommendations; 11, business office recommendations; 12, educational curriculum and instructions; and 13, board policies.
Do we have a second? Sean, all in favor? Thank you. Future meeting dates, February 24th will be a work session for the Board of Education, and then we will have a regular meeting again on March 10th. We are now up to comments from the public. Okay, I don't think there's any comments from the public this evening. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting tonight? Sean, second. Jill, all in favor? Thank you, everyone, and have a great evening.